Okay, so a lot of you guys ask a lot of questions, and I'd like to welcome you back to Poppy's Farm. So I really appreciate all you guys ask the questions. I know that it may be a little different where we do use TikTok to ask some questions, but so I'm going to explain a few different things that you guys had the most common questions. One of them was, how do you raise chickens in a rabbit hutch? And why, like, are you raising them all the time? No. Okay, so for me, every farm needs to find your niche. You need to find what you can do, what you're really successful at, that other people may have either a difficult time or it's something that other people aren't doing. And finding that for your farm is really important. And why I say it's really important is because if you don't have a niche, and I didn't in the beginning, and most farms don't, because I don't care how long you've been doing farm work, each place is different. So just because 10 miles down the road and Joe Bob can do a lot of money on beans does not mean that you'll be able to do a lot of money on beans. So with that, I knew that I was really pretty good, knock on wood, about keeping an eye on my chicks, and I knew those telltale signs, things like pasty bud and all that kind of stuff. So I knew my signs, and I was after trying to grow the chicks till they were feathered out and they were off heat light. That's what my goal was. My goal wasn't to grow a bunch of chickens to adulthood. Only chickens that made it through adulthood were the ones that I didn't sell in the early swing when I first got them off heat. And the rabbit hutch seems to be just great about getting that off heat. And why is because that chick is better climatized to being able to deal with the temperatures at hand. Why? Because just like old mommy hen, unless they're sitting right inside that box, which is just right underneath of the hen basically, if they're sitting right there, then yeah, they're getting heat. But otherwise, if they got to move around, so I set their food and water outside of the box. So that it makes them go on outside that box. And what that does is when they're going outside of and inside, they're being exposed to whatever temperature that is. I've been able to climatize chicks in about 4 to 8 weeks. I've been able to climatize chicks to, 40-degree weather. And for a lot of people, that can be difficult. I know. I was, I have been there before when I would have great success if they were, with nice heat light in the house or inside the shop. That worked out great, and I could really raise a lot of chicks. Problem was when I went outside with them, well, they were rather weak when it came to the temperature. They were wanting to find more heat, and I really never had got real good about changing that to accommodate so that those chicks would be would have more vitality and would do better. And I even had used dimmer switches and things like that. Still yet, a dimmer switch helps. I'm not arguing that, but these seem to be kind of more like set it and forget it. Okay, the way I would do it is like, our particular one, I think, is 10 holes. So it's 10 bays where the rabbit could have went in shelter. It's 10 bays of that. In those 10 bays of that rabbit shelter, the first 2 bays I would do usually about 50 chicks, little chicks, day-old chicks, to the box. In about a week, I would move those chicks on down the line. So now on box 3 and 4, I would usually break that for 25 chicks to the hole. So then I would have 4 more boxes being used now for that original 100 chicks. So then I would have the last 2 boxes were designed that I would let them out every day. They could come in and out of the hutch entirely, and they would have a little ramp, and I used netting, bird netting all the way around it, top and bottom. We had a terrible problem with lots of hawk pressure. I've never seen so much hawk pressure in my life. Not just one kind of hawk even. We had red tails, Coopers, we had peregrines. I had peregrines that were getting our pigeons even. So loads of pressure. So for us, it was just better to go ahead and net the entire lot. So that's what we did. We net the entire lot. Every day you go back and you can, every night you put them back up. They starting to get used to the idea of how a coop works, and seems to be a really good transition for them. Phenomenal. And so what ends up happening, like I said, you do a great job on growing those chicks, and there's a lot of other ways you can do it. So I'm going to take you on up through here in just a second, and I've got another setup over here, and this one it's super easy. It was my beginning setups. This is how I first started learning that this particular method changes your life as far as raising chicks goes. This works for regular barnyard ducks, chickens, and as far as quail and game birds seem that when I say game birds, things like peafowl and stuff, no, they do not do well with this method. They need a controlled box at 90 degrees and then drop down to 80 degrees. Those boxes work much better. And I've used those boxes for chicks, and I just don't get the growth that I get out of these style boxes with chicks. So hang on just a second. Okay, you guys, so that right there is from where I left a heat lot when I had picked it up to move to be able to work on cleaning the box. Whenever I did that, that was my fault. Don't do that. No. But what you do, that's a terrible one. But anyways, right here, you're gonna cut, if you can, try to cut a better one. But this, like I said, this was my very first one. I built this probably, I'd say 4, maybe 5 years ago. And so you cut that out. That's where you set your heat lot. The ring is for the top of the heat lot to set down, the ring around the heat lot to set down on. That's what you're going to measure. And then you take, and you see the little hole right here, you're going to cut that out. That's so those chicks can go in and out, and they can get used to whatever temperature they need. So I guess she decided she needed to be in the film. So and yes, you guys, she had the babies the other day. She just had 2. You'll see there's a whole story going to be about that. That's just been wow. You guys have just got to follow the story. You can check it out on TikTok and follow us along, and then I've got a video coming out soon on here. Check it, just keep following and keep watching. So that's how we did that was my first, what's known in some circles as a brooder box style setup. In brooder box setups, they work phenomenal at growing chicks, and they will feather out nicely. They'll feather out quickly. As long as you keep that food and water by them, it's smooth, it's simple, it's easy, and it's something that anybody can do. I know any of you guys could start there, and it's not too complicated, and it's a lot easier than I've put a heat light in, and then now my chicks are about full-size chickens, and I put them outside and I lose some. So that should help you guys there. So what are you doing over there? Can you see her? I don't know what you're doing over there. What are you doing? Do you see the chickens? So the thing is for me, it's kind of hard to get a lot of things on film on a pretty smooth run, and that's because of we let a lot of our animals free range. So whenever I've put them up during the night and I let them out in the morning, I may not see them again till this evening. Those that sorry. So what ends up happening is they're somewhere around the farm, and generally I know their favorite places to be. And if we have varmint pressure, which varmint, a lot of you guys ask the word, what is a varmint? Well, varmints for us are any predator, and sometimes they're not always a predator. Things like anything that's causing you grief. Like one of the varmints would be like a hawk, but another varmint for us is a groundhog. Now, a groundhog really isn't killing anything, but it's definitely causing us some grief sometimes. So if there's any varmint pressure like that, we will shut it down. We keep them locked in. There's electric on the top and bottom strands. On the inside, outside, like I said, we've got netting. We've got a bunch of options to try to give them the best possibility. And I'll just be honest, it's been tough. And so you guys don't get discouraged out there. You can do it. You can do it. Listen, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's not that complicated. So hope to see you guys out there. See ya.